I need to hook onto the flatbed trailer today, so of course I'm gonna have to move this hay spear. And as I'm looking at it, I'm just like, that thing, it just looks too narrow to fit on the LS. So let's measure it, let's settle it once and for all. Okay, 45 inches and 44 inches, so yeah, it'll fit. I guess it's just because they gave me this monster bucket here. This is like 7 feet wide, and it just makes everything look bigger. But the attachment point is a standard measurement, like I suspected. But you know, sometimes you just gotta check. Ugh. Need to tighten that up a little bit. Actually got pretty close. I think that's everything. You've been waiting patiently. Good girl. Well, we have certainly reached the time of year where it feels like the amount of jobs that I have to do are greater than the amount of time that I have to do them. So when things get like that, what I'll usually do is make a list of everything that I need to do, and then I'll go back and put it in order of the most efficient way to do those things, and then I will divvy it up amongst the days of the week so that I can hopefully figure out the most efficient way to get everything done. So I'm looking at the list that I made for myself, and I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to get all this done, but I guess whatever we don't do today, we can get done tomorrow. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. You guys might remember I made this panel, I don't know, months ago. I think it might have been winter time actually. And what this is for putting on the end of the hay feeder so that after I drop a round bale in there, I can close that panel and hopefully prevent what you see here on the ground, all this hay that they have pushed out. In the next couple of days, the plan is to pull the bulls out of the herd, and then they're gonna live like in this little corral and in the little field here until we get the calves weaned. And during that time, I'll have to feed them some hay. And I think the hay getting pushed out of the feeder is made worse when you have fewer animals and more hay. So like with 3 bulls and 1 round bale, they're gonna have plenty of time to pick through it, get all the stuff that they like, push the stuff out of the way that they don't like, and that's what leads to this here. So getting this up now is a good time to do it. And if I decide that this works good, then I'll probably end up making another one for the other feeder and probably one for the big feeder as well. So I guess this is the prototype. If you guys remember, I used this project as a way to practice my TIG welding. And I think if I end up making 2 more of these things, that I should TIG weld all of them. And then maybe by the time I'm done, I'll be somewhat decent. First, we gotta get this all pushed back. They're a little bit long, but that's okay. Too long's better than too short. What's up, Gally? Is there a mouse over here or what? What are you so excited about? So the difficult part here is kind of where to put these. I want them low so that they contain the maximum amount of hay, but I want this to be high enough where I can easily open it and it's not just going to be dragging on the ground. So I am going to say like right here, somewhere in here maybe. Okay. It might be a little high, I don't know. It's probably like at the highest point, maybe 8 inches off the ground, which does seem kind of high. Because this is a prototype though, that's all right. We're gonna learn something, whatever it ends up being from this. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the top pin in there, and I think we'll be done with this for now. Like there. The post that it's hanging on is not exactly plumb, so the panel naturally kind of wants to hang open like it is now, which will be great while I'm loading this thing up with hay, but I will need some sort of a latching system on this post to hold it closed once it's full. So I think for now, I'll just tie it shut with some hay twine so that the road remains open, and I'm sure that this will not be how I close this for the next, I don't know, 10 years or so. Okay, one more little job to do while we're over here, but it's not in the little corral, it's over here in the working corral. Last couple of times that I've run cows down this alleyway, some of you might have noticed that there is a board missing, and it's usually not that big of a deal, except that I will be loading coal cows in the next few days, and having any sort of a hole in this fence is not what I want, because if they start trying to reach their heads through there or something like that, these boards are not very strong on this fence, so it wouldn't shock me if they could actually push their way through this. Well guys, I goofed up a little bit here. When I bought my new board to patch this hole, I bought an 8-foot board, because I kind of remembered that these posts were on a 4-foot spacing, but then I also thought with the board that's damaged here, there was enough hanging over onto the railroad tie posts that we could just attach that there and then fill this 4-foot gap. So I was thinking an 8-foot long board would be more than enough. But there's a problem. If you look at the wood here that lays over the railroad tie, you sure can't get a screw into it and do any good. So we'll have to go back to the next post. And you know, if you're thinking, well, 4-foot post spacing, that's no problem. Well, these just happen to be like 4 foot plus a few inches. So an 8-foot board will not reach this span to get up to this next post. So what I'm gonna have to do, which I actually don't mind doing it on this fence because it's in such rough shape anyway, but I'll just have to cut this board, I mean, wherever, let's say probably about there, and then we'll butt our new board up to where I cut this one off, and then we'll put a board behind them to screw it all together and attach it. That'll be fine, and the wood here is good. I kind of looked at that already before I started filming, so this should work. We're attracting quite the audience. And just like that, the weakest part of the fence became the strongest part. Trying to think ahead and kind of plan for the future, and the next thing that I need to do to this trailer before I use it again, especially on any long trips, is replace the tires. So I'm parking it here behind the shop next to the hay rakes there, because it's just going to be a lot easier for me to work on it when it's kind of here out in the open. So that's what you call planning ahead. The next thing on my list is to get my meat birds moved out of the water trough brooder that I've got in the shop and put into this mobile chicken pen here that I am going to put on my front lawn. Most people call a pen like this a chicken tractor, which I refuse to do because this is not capable of what this is. It's the same reason I won't call my Avalon an F1 car or my F350 a monster truck. So I think I will start with the mobile chicken coop right here in the corner, and then the plan is to kind of go like in an S pattern across the lawn until I get over to the fruit trees, at which point I think the chickens will be big enough to be contained with poultry net, which I will then set up around the mobile chicken coop and then use the loader on the tractor to pick that up and give them a poultry netting enclosure all the way up until harvest. I've always kind of had a love-hate relationship with having a nice yard because yes, it does look nice, but there's a lot of work, a lot of resources and energy go into making it look this way. You got to water it, you got to cut it so that it can grow, and then you can water it and cut it again. It's kind of insane when you think about it, but if we can utilize this grass resource to make some good pasture-raised poultry, well, then it starts making a lot more sense to me, at least. Now, this whole pen is looking pretty rough, but I've looked it over and I don't see any holes where the chickens are going to be able to escape, so I think that we're going to be all right. In years past, I have raised the chickens all the way to harvest in this exact pen, but what I hated about it is that they're so difficult to catch in here because I've just got the one little door in the corner, so when you go in to try to grab them, of course they all go to the opposite corner, and yeah, it's just more difficult than it needs to be. So that's why I think enclosing this in a poultry net and then just lifting it out of there and getting it out of the way is going to be the ticket. Not really sure the best way to rig this up, but there are these holes in the cutting blade on the bucket, and oh, I guess that's not going to work. Is it a surprise to anyone that C-clamps are the answer? Shouldn't be. I really don't know where the balance point is on this. I would assume it's a little bit towards like the tractor side because there's more structure over there, but this thing could like totally flop down when I pick it up, and if it does, then I'll just tie another strap to the front back to the bucket to keep everything in place. Well, that was kind of unexpected, but definitely easy to deal with. And when you think about it, 3 points of lift is probably a lot safer and more stable anyway. Well, it's not the most attractive feature of our yard, but yeah, it's probably not the worst. There we go, that's better. All right, well, go get them. Boy, they're sure huddling up, and I don't know if that's just because they're kind of scared because they're in a new environment or what it is, but I bet if we put their feeder in there, that'd make them spread out a little bit. What do you think? Well, I guess we can check this off and move on to the next thing. The next thing that I want to try to do today is get some mowing done in the pasture as we get into fall. I think if I go out there and knock that smut grass down, that it should stay down for the rest of the year. I know it'll be back in the spring and the summertime, but we can at least get rid of it for now. Previously, when I've done mowing with this tractor, I've just taken the bucket off, but I left the loader arms on. And today I want to try to remove the entire loader just to kind of see how hard that is. But also, you know, when you're mowing, you don't need the weight on the front end and you don't need the loader. So there's not really any reason to have it on there, and my visibility is going to be a lot better with it off. I've never taken this one off, but I imagine it can't be that different than the other ones that I have taken off. So let's give it a try. So the loader is detached now, but something that I do that I don't see many people do, I like to shut the engine off and just go through the loader joystick to relieve the pressure off of the hoses. Makes it a lot easier to hook them up when you want to put this back on and not squirt me with oil. So if I'm fumbling around like I've never done this before, it's because I've never done this before. At least not on this tractor. The color coding is a nice touch. Like the hoses are threaded through this loop here. This is attached to the tractor, so when we try to back off of it, that would not be good. Okay, we should be able to just back right off of it. Sure looks different, doesn't it? Like I said before, I want to get some mowing done this afternoon in a little pasture, and then I gotta finish up the middle pasture. I ran out of diesel the other day while I was doing it. So I want to get those two done. The middle is easy. The little pasture, however, presents maybe a bit of a challenge. The easiest way for me to get the tractor and mower to this little field would be through this gate. But the problem, you've probably figured it out already, is that when I built this gateway, I never dreamed that I would ever have a cab tractor, and this cross piece is too low. It would hit the cab. So we can't go through this way. There's only actually one gate that I can access this pasture that doesn't have a crossbar on top, but it's very narrow. It's where I've got the back rubber hanging up. I have to make sure that the tractor is not too wide. I can't remember if that's a 6-foot gate or an 8-foot gate. If it's an 8-foot gate, we will fit. It'll be a squeeze, but if it's a 6-foot gate, it ain't gonna happen. All right, I'm gonna hook this mower up with a little YouTube magic. Get out of the way. Oh, everybody's coming now. we're done here in the middle field. Now I just gotta see if this tractor is gonna fit through that gate. I don't know, it's gonna be close. Well, bad news. The tractor, I think, would fit by an inch or two, which honestly is too tight. I don't want to drive it through when it's that close. And I think the mower, I don't think that it would fit. So what this means is that I need to drop the mower here, go get my smaller tractor and use it to mow the little field. May not be as powerful and it may not have a cab, but it is short and it'll fit through the gate. So let's go hook the LS mower up to the New Holland and see if it can turn it. Let's try this again. It's a little dark to try to show you, but we are done. The tractor spun that mower just fine, which was good, and that mower just cuts so much better than the old one. So I'm glad that I know I have the option that I can use it on either one. Amazingly, I actually did get through my list for today, but I certainly didn't get ahead on anything that I need to do tomorrow. Sun's going down and I need to get home, so we're gonna call it here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.